Greetings and welcome to another episode of Shop Talk here at Page 3's Game Zone. I'm Nathan Varney.
And I'm Aaron Sawyers.
Today we're going to be taking a look at The Amazing Spider-Man #1, the 2015 post-Secret Wars.
While Secret Wars is still going on.
Yeah, while Secret Wars is still finishing. Amazing Spider-Man #1. Primary writing on this is Dan Slott, and the pencils, and I hope I'm doing this right here, Giuseppe Camuncoli.
Seems legit.
We're just going to go with Giuseppe here.
Giuseppe.
All right. So this is a giant book.
Giant.
It's a huge book.
It is.
It's oversized and action-packed, as the cover says. But there's a lot of material in this book. We're just going to talk about the first part of it, the actual Amazing Spider-Man story. There was several other, 4 or 5 other
sneak peeks.
Into other parts of the other Spider-Verse books coming up. But we're just actually going to take a look at the Amazing Spider-Man story out of this. So we pick up here, and Peter Parker is a billionaire industrialist now.
The poor man's Tony Stark.
Poor man. And that's one thing that Peter apparently is trying to get around now is the idea that he is not Tony Stark.
Yes.
So I haven't read Invincible Iron Man #1. That also released today. We're filming this on release day on October the 7th, 2015. We have not read Invincible Iron Man just yet, but there's a possibility that maybe there's going to be some information there about Tony's position here.
Yeah.
So, but apparently, either he doesn't have. It's either the traditional unfavorable opinion of him because he's a billionaire playboy.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's something else going on at Stark that maybe the world is a little more unfavorable of than normal. So.
Well, they did just have the superior.
Right, and that's very possible that it's coming from the Superior Iron Man stuff, which would be completely legit as far as why Peter Parker would be concerned with not being perceived as Tony Stark.
Yeah.
So, because he's going out, he's doing some philanthropy here, philanthropy, if I pronounce it properly, doing some charities, working with various groups to give back. He talks about, he starts the, was it the Uncle Ben Foundation or just the Ben Foundation?
No, Uncle Ben Foundation was the one for the press conference.
Yeah, so during the book, where, it's a charity organization. He talks about how influential that his Uncle Ben was in his life, of how he worked really hard to be able to help other people, to give to other people, even if it meant that he was lacking sometimes. So he wanted to be able to say, okay, I want to help out other people here. So he goes through. He's got some really neat tech that he introduces.
I like the Google Watch.
Yeah.
With great power comes, greater speed, storage, and battery life.
Yeah. He's being harried, though, in the book by the Zodiac.
Yes.
He encountered Leo, which he referred to as Lino, which I was amused by. And I guess the part where he said Craven called, he wants his nipples back.
His nipples back.
But he also had an encounter at a wedding of a couple of his friends that.
Yeah, with the fish.
I think it was like a fish member of Zodiac. The name is eluding me, but nonetheless. So thereafter, though, they break into, have made a raid on Parker Industries.
Yeah.
And then they actually encounter him out in public there to try to get a hold of of his watch.
Well, first they're trying to get the database that the watch has. And then
they want the database. Then they go for his watch, knowing that it has special permissions into the database. So there are one, if not two, other individuals that are masquerading as Spider-Man, as the Amazing Spider-Man in this book.
Yeah.
So Peter has gotten with at least one, if not two, of his other friends, including was it Hubie, the Prowler?
Yeah.
His real name's.
I just remember he calls him Hubie.
Yeah. So was it Hubert Brown? I think maybe is his real name. But nonetheless, the Prowler. And I was thinking there was at least one other character, but regardless, the Prowler is also Spider-Man. Is also the Amazing Spider-Man in this book. He's on Peter's payroll.
Yeah, he's paying him to pretend to be Spider-Man so that he can fool villains.
Yeah.
Into thinking that Peter Parker is not really Spider-Man.
Which is genius.
It's fantastic. That's a fantastic idea.
I mean, it's still dangerous, because what if he ever turned on him? And I'm sure they'll eventually do that. But at the same time, it's probably less dangerous than trying to always fool people by Peter Parker always vanishing when Spider-Man's around.
Yeah.
So at least once in a while, Spider-Man's there, and Peter Parker's right there with other people. He's got the best alibi ever.
Yeah.
Of the world. So.
And it does prove dangerous already when Hobie gets punched.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Where's your spider sense now?" So.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, he's definitely got some moves, but as Peter points out in the book, he's used to working out of the shadows, and at night, as the Prowler, he's not really used to being, fighting in broad daylight.
Yeah.
So, but it's still a really neat way to jump right off with is that Peter Parker, Parker Industries here is almost like a James Bond type feel to this.
Yeah. Now they're making tech. He's making tech obviously for himself because he has the car.
Yes.
That
they have the Spider-Mobile. But it actually looks pretty freaking awesome.
It does. And it climbs on the ceiling there for one point, and it transforms until like the wheels come up until like the four-legged spider. It's fantastic. And he even says that he's making technology for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, Nick Fury calls at one point because Spider-Man and Mockingbird are working together to make a capture on
the Zodiac.
Yeah, on Leo and those members of Zodiac there. Nick Fury beeps in, if you will, and says, is having a conversation with him, and Peter basically is like, basically throws his weight around a little bit and says, if you want me to still make tech for you, let me handle this.
Yeah, Nick Fury says we need to get that database, that system back for the server, and Peter basically tells him, Spider-Man, he's like, well, it's coming back to Parker Tech, and if you want tech still for S.H.I.E.L.D., it's going to come back to Parker Tech.
Yeah.
So he basically tells him, I'm going to have it back, or I'm going to stop making stuff for you.
Yeah.
So Nick just says, all right, have your way this time.
Yeah. So that's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So I imagine that my suspicion then, having not read Iron Man yet, that maybe Parker Industries and Stark Industries are going to have a little go at it here as far as a business rivalry.
That'd be awesome.
And then I would imagine that will probably spill into Tony and Peter personally.
Possibly.
Assuming that, and that's assuming that Tony knows who Peter's identity. He may not, because who knows with this relaunch, who actually knows Peter's identity.
That's true.
So
I'm actually really liking it because it's got the cool tech and stuff from Superior Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, okay.
Superior, Doc Ock.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Superior Spider-Man, and still the Peter Parker with his corny, cheesy lines that are still really good.
Speaking of, Peter recalls Superior Spider-Man happening.
Yes.
He recalls when Doc Ock was in his body.
Yeah.
In this issue, so I'm not sure what. My understanding was this going to be a reboot of the Marvel Universe, but right off the bat, there's recognition of pre-Secret Wars. Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I don't know if the rest of the comic reading world is going to be fine with that, but who knows?
Yeah, he even points out to the lady, she's worked with Black Cat. It was after Superior Spider-Man, just in the last series of Amazing Spider-Man, she worked with Black Cat there for a while. She's trying to make money and stop making things to help people for Peter Industries.
Yeah.
And he even calls her out on that at one point. And so she's sitting there, she's walking through and trying to rush everything with her plans. And there's
because Peter basically calls her out because he thinks that there's a mole in Parker Industries.
Yeah.
And he calls this woman out on it. Maybe one of his high-end assistants calls her out on it, and
it's his partner, his business partner.
Yeah, and so when she gets back to the European branch of Parker Industries, she basically is like, we got to put these plans in gear faster.
She doesn't reveal what plans she has, but she says we need to go ahead and put these plans out, get them out quicker.
Yeah, and then right at the end there's this robot. In the European branch of Parker Industries,
with Anna there.
Yes, that
apparently somehow has Doc Ock's mind in it.
The hint that was dropped there in the last panel is that maybe this robot is Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, it says something. I'm trying to remember what it's like. I'll go help you out, Anna. And she's like, no, that's okay. And he's like, my dear, sweet Anna. And then he shows his eyes with Dr. Octopus's head
in each of the eyes.
Head. Yeah. It's got his head in each of the eyes.
So it was interesting. I like that. I'm completely down with the new direction.
I like it so far.
For Peter Parker as a billionaire.
Yeah.
And I understand that they're still going to have dirt poor Spider-Man, but that's going to be Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
Yeah, they've even, they teased about some of the other ones, and I'm really excited about some of the other books as well. So.
And for all the years, with as intelligent as Peter Parker is, and as good as he is with tech and gadgets, this totally makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
It completely makes sense for him to have a worldwide enterprise for technology, just like Stark does. It makes complete sense, in my opinion. I mean, I think it's the perfect move.
I agree.
For Spider-Man.
Like I said, I've really enjoyed this issue.
Yeah.
I wish the symbol would glow green like that in the front cover, though.
It's still beautiful art by Alex Ross on the cover.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between the art and the old artist.
Yeah.
But it's still beautiful art.
Yeah, the cover's amazing. The interior art that's well suited for Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
So Giuseppe, I think hit it right on. I'm pleased with that.
Thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
All right. Well, what are your final thoughts on this then, Aaron? What's your verdict here?
I love it. I'm a fan of Spider-Man. I can't say I'm the biggest fan, but I've really loved Spider-Man throughout the years. I think this is a great direction. Like I said, I like the tech aspect of Superior Spider-Man, and I love the corny jokes from Peter Parker. I've always loved that. So to mesh them together like this, I think it's a fantastic idea, and I'm excited to see how they take it.
No, I'm down with this. I've followed Spider-Man for many years. I guess I started reading Spider-Man in the very first comic I ever read was Spectacular Spider-Man 181. It was the very first comic book that I ever read. It was given to me in an Easter basket by the Easter Bunny. That it was a new issue that particular spring, and I'd never even seen a comic book in my life prior to that, and I got that. The Real Ghostbusters by I think it was Now Comics, issue I think 3, and there was one other book that's eluding me right now. I think it was actually another Spider-Man. I think it was Web of Spider-Man, maybe 89. I think was the other book. Cool. So it was. I have been in and out of Spider-Man stories for a long time, and I know a lot of people, are turned off because of feeling so confused about all the different Spider people and all this and that. But I think that honestly, though, from my perspective, Marvel has got the right idea about embracing the Spider universe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're really popular characters. There's a reason that there's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the Spider-Verse. And it's because people really like them. I mean, overall, now one person may like Spider-Gwen, but not like Miles Morales, or might like Peter Parker, but not like Gwen. But at the same time, each of those different Spider characters, I mean, they really reach to a different, a lot of different audiences. So, especially, I mean, from a business standpoint, and even from, marketing, and even from a story standpoint, I'm completely fine.
Oh yeah, a little bit
with them. Yeah,
everything for everybody.
So, but this anyway. With all that said, that was a long-winded way of saying that I've read quite a bit of Spider-Man over the years, and I really like this. I think if you are a traditional Spider-Man fan, I think you may still be interested in this book. Even though it's a very different direction for Peter, I think that I kind of feel like it's almost a natural progression of his character rather than keeping him as a broke 20-year-old for eternity.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay either direction. It's just that I really feel like this makes sense for him as a character because of his intellect.
Yeah.
So, I think if you have been a Peter Parker Spider-Man fan for a long time, I think you really probably will want to at least pick up this first story arc and give it a shot. Because just reading issue 1, I'm very intrigued and very interested. I'm going to be subscribing to this myself, and I haven't been subscribed to any of the Spider-Man books, mostly because of budget. But I haven't been subscribed to a Spider-Man book in about 5 or 6 years, I think. Wow. I'm gonna at the very least gonna give this first story arc a complete shot. So I think awesome. I'm gonna be rewarded on that end.
I believe so.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap things up then. If you don't have anything else.
No. The only difference between Peter Parker and Tony Stark. Peter Parker and Tony Stark is Tony Stark wouldn't do a presentation with his pants down.
Yeah, Peter does this worldwide presentation and his flies unzipped. Yeah. He's wearing Spider-Man boxer shorts.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man is a celebrity in here.
Yeah.
He's got action figures and comic books and everything in the Marvel universe.
He uses Spider-Man in his advertisements for his watch.
Yeah, Spider-Man's his bodyguard actually. So, but yeah, that was amusing. I like that.
I like that one. It's one of my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good drop there. I like that. All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap up another episode of Shop Talk. Neither of us can speak today.
Well,
down here at Page Three's Game Zone. We appreciate you watching. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share about this issue, definitely do that down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And without further ado, that'll wrap up this episode, and we will see you next time.
All right. It's totally the guy with the scars on his face.